Hello and welcome to Take Time. I am your host, Patrick Marlett. Today we're taking a look at one of the latest models in the military series by Christopher Ward, a design that bears the Royal Navy insignia and is inspired by the timeless Omega Seamaster 300 in both look and spirit. This is the C65 Dartmouth. Disclaimer, this model has been lent into the channel for review. Now, as I like to do with all my reviews, let's start with some bad notes first. I love the C65 case design. It's easily my favorite from the brand. Up until this point, I hadn't ever owned or reviewed a Christopher Ward on its bracelet. It is more than satisfactory and, as I understand, has gone through various mechanical and cosmetic improvements over time. However, the widened center links make this watch wear larger than it actually is. I've owned various 40 to 42mm dive watches, but this model appears to wear the largest. It's only a trick of the eyes, but the C65s I've worn in the past never felt so massive. This plays in contrast to its thin scale and short lug-to-lug length. It's not a bad thing necessarily, but one to note if you have smaller wrist. I'd advise the leather-based option in that instance. Lastly, there is one minor error with the model I received. You should be able to see it now. Right at the 12, our loom triangle on the bezel insert is slightly left aligned. It's not immediately noticeable at first, but if you compare the distance between our 59-minute mark and our 1-minute mark, you'll notice it right away. Furthermore, when compared to its larger brother on the dial, it's something that can't go unseen. It is a negligible defect that hasn't hampered my overall experience, but a defect nonetheless. Let me know if you noticed any misalignment issues with your own piece, be it a C65 or other model, as I generally don't hear many negative reports in this regard. Alright, let's get to those positive notes. The Dartmouth, on the whole, one big positive. The bracelet is phenomenal, so long as you don't mind your watch running a bit wide. It utilizes a capsipin system, much like we've seen in the past, but they do provide a sizing service before order to get it fitted correctly without the trouble of doing it ourselves. Bear in mind there is a $10 service fee associated with this, but it's nice to have the option provided. The real standout here is the clasp. It's premium in every sense of the word. With a built-in ratcheting system to provide the perfect micro adjustment on the fly and a well-constructed design, there's absolutely nothing to dislike. I also enjoy the minor detailing on top of the clasp to give it a seamless look with our bracelet. I've gloated about it in the past, but I cannot get over the C65 case design. It's thin, perfectly scaled all over, and features an excellent 120-click bezel on our naval model. The body itself captures light brilliantly, always putting the Dartmouth on full display, with a giant crown to match the wide gait of its lugs. Said crown never imprints itself on your wrist, provided the watch is sized correctly, so rest easy on that. The crown's single pull operation and non-screw down construction fit perfectly with this modern skin diver design and provide easy access to the chronometer grade movement inside. I've noticed an average of 2 seconds gain in a 24-hour period, but this is an anecdotal observation rounding the course of a month. Most notable of all features to be said of this model and the rest of the C65 military series is the dial. It's a lovely reimagining of the classic Omega Seamaster 300 big triangle. It's slightly more reserved than its muse, featuring a large triangle at the 12 that doesn't dominate the dial. I do somewhat prefer the overly large appearance of the 165024's massive 12 o'clock indicator, but the look here is meant to be more of a nod than a homage. Christopher Ward has certainly drawn design cues from Omega in the past, but always in a respectful manner. This is again another fine example of that. It is still very much a Christopher Ward, and I like that. Before I get to my verdict, let's take a look at the Christopher Ward C65 Dartmouth on my 7¼ wrist. This brand is fast becoming one of my favorites. Instead of following the status quo, Christopher Ward is innovating, and when they're not doing that, they're daydreaming. Daydreaming on models we all seek to have but just can't afford or are otherwise inaccessible. At about $1,000 US for a chronometer certified timepiece on bracelet with all the charm of a vintage Omega and the full character of a Christopher Ward, how can I not enjoy this watch? Excellent work, as always. Looking forward to the Series 2. Perhaps we'll see a comically large triangle then. Again, my name is Patrick Marlett, and thank you for the time.